Hello and welcome to the United Stand. How are you all doing, United football fans? Here we go then. Fabinho not joining Manchester United this summer. Renato Sanches not joining Manchester United this summer. For those people who are disliking the video, I am not in charge of Manchester United's transfer policy. Many fans probably wish I was. I certainly wish I was, but I'm not. I'm just delivering the news that is not on the back of the Sun. It's not in the Daily Star. It's coming from Monaco's vice president. Fabinho and Lamar, not the singer, the footballer, will not be leaving Monaco this summer. This is from his words, from his mouth, that have been spoken today, this afternoon. So my conclusion in relation to Fabinho is that it's disappointing. Of course it's disappointing. I think if a poll was run with Manchester United fans, certainly with United Stand followers and viewers, as to what midfielder you would sign this summer, I think Fabinho, which is ridiculous, can you think about all the midfielders that are out there, I think Fabinho would get well over 60% of the vote. So, you know, are thousands and thousands of Manchester United fans wrong? Probably not. Should we be listened to over Jose Mourinho? Of course not. He's the manager. If he picks Matic, he picks Matic. But Fabinho is a player that's been mentioned for a long time. I've been speaking of him probably since March time, and then it's built and built and built. I think he's perfect for what we need. I think Fabinho, Pogba and Herrera would be a very interchangeable midfield three. Fabinho can push on as a box-to-box. Herrera can drop back. Fabinho can be the holder. Herrera can go box-to-box. Pogba, you know, there's so much manoeuvrability. But is it a Mourinho midfielder? Mourinho likes height, doesn't he? And that means we're going to have a static, slow midfielder in there. It's what he wants. So Fabinho, I don't feel was ever on the list. I think just to close it and shut it down, I wanted Fabinho to come. I got very excited that Friday night when Di Marzio said we'd put a bid in. I'm not sure Di Marzio's been very accurate this summer. It pains me to say it. I'd love him to turn it around, but his sources of the last couple of years have let him down. It's not been that good this year. He got it right about Griezmann a couple of days before, but that Fabinho bid on the Friday night got us all very excited, and I just think that was probably 5 or 6 weeks ago now, and I think it was a rumoured £40 million bid. Well, why have we not gone back in? And if we haven't gone back in, we've missed the boat now anyway, because if he was on the list and we've messed around like we did with Perisic, then I'd be furious really, because if we did put that bid in for Fabinho 6 weeks ago, and in the interim they've sold Mendy and Bakayoko because City and Chelsea have paid what they wanted, then why did we not go back in? Because the situation with Monaco is this now. I sort of hope we were never in for Fabinho, because if we messed it up by waiting too long, that's even more infuriating. The reality is, and you can understand it from Monaco's point of view, they've made a hell of a lot of money this summer, but they're a rich club anyway, so the money's not that important to them. They've lost Bakayoko, Mendy, Bernardo Silva, and Mbappe's probably going to force a move as well. So they're going to make like hundreds of £1 million, and they're going to lose a lot of their players. They've bought well as well. Tielemans has gone in, but they don't want to let Fabinho go. So I personally would err on the side of caution and say that maybe Di Marzio was wrong about the bid, and maybe that Fabinho was never on the... And it pains me to say that, because that idiot off Manchester Evening News, Lockhurst, said it. So, you know, for me to say this, it takes something, but maybe we're never in for him, because to think about the alternative is to really get depressed, because Mourinho gave Woodward the list in April. If we had Fabinho on that list and we are now unable to get him because we've acted so slowly and let everybody else get Monaco players, then that's a massive failing. I personally think he wasn't on the list, and because if he was, why didn't we do the deal in May or June? That's my feeling on it. So that's the end of Fabinho. I'd love to be doing another video in a couple of days' time, but that's the end of Fabinho. It's from the Monaco's vice president's mouth. And with that, we need to move on. We won't be moving on to Renato Sanches, though. Renato Sanches is going to go to AC Milan. He's been quite vocal about that. Ancelotti wants him to go there. Mendes, his agent, and Mourinho's agent is over there. So, again, we're not in for him. Or he doesn't want to come to Manchester United, one of those two. So I think, again, I would like to err on the side of caution and say we're not in for him. But it baffles me, because Mourinho this time last year was asked about Renato Sanches and said what a fantastic player he is. We know that Manchester United scouted him a lot. He said he scouted him a lot more because he had nothing to do because he'd been sacked. He said if he'd been the manager of Manchester United at the time they were trying to get him, he would have bent over backwards to get him. A year later he's available and he doesn't want him. So I don't think Mourinho's that sort of manager. I know some of you as fans are that sort of fan that, oh, he's been rubbish for a year, he's a flop, he's not worth it. But I think Mourinho would see him as like, yeah, he went to Bayern Munich and he failed, but I still think he's that great player I thought he was a year ago. I will get the best out of him. I think he's a perfect Mourinho sort of signing. So why aren't we in for him again? I don't know. I can't answer that. But again, Renato Sanches, park it. It's not going to happen. We may as well forget about it. So no Fabinho, no Renato Sanches, and Matic. I'm predicting Matic and Perisic. Maybe it's reverse psychology in the hope that it won't happen, but I firmly think it will happen. Somebody said today, I don't think it was Demartio, I think it was somebody else, said that Matic to Manchester United is a step away, one step away. At which case I tweeted out, has anyone got a banana skin so he can slip up? But look, I'll resist Matic to Manchester United until it happens, and then the minute it happens I will wind my neck in, support him, back him as Mourinho's signing, and hope it proves me wrong. But until it happens, I apologise. I'm not going to apologise. I don't want him to sign. I want somebody else. But when he signs, I'll take it. And you know what? That's not being a hypocrite. That's not... It's being totally honest. I didn't want Lukaku. I wanted Morata. And we got Lukaku, and I back him now. You know I do. I think he's got a lot of potential, and I back Mourinho to turn him into a top striker. So if you don't want Matic, it doesn't mean you're a hypocrite if when he signs you back him, because that's being a fan. You back the players in their shirt. I back Fellaini when he comes on. I don't want him to lose points for us. I don't really want him in a Manchester United shirt, but when he's playing for us, I want him to do well. It doesn't surprise me that he doesn't do well, but that's another matter. So I think it will be Matic. And Perisic, I do like Perisic. I've got to be honest, I do like Perisic. There was links to LP Leipzig's Forsberg today. I don't think there's anything in that. Interestingly enough as well, Richard Keys, who... Richard Keys is a divider, former Sky Sports presenter who got the sack for inappropriate comments. He is over in Dubai on BN Sports now. Some people seem to think he's been right in the past. I've never noticed it on transfers, but some people follow people on Twitter called MUFC Insider, who is just a Liverpool fan who's about 16. So everybody falls into traps. But in relation to Richard Keys, he was asked a question on Twitter earlier about Gareth Bale to Manchester United, and he just simply replied yes. So we did the Gareth Bale to United story this morning. I just think it's a regurgitation of stories. I think transfer news will start to kick on for United now, actually. I know I've been a bit negative over the last couple of weeks, saying that we won't sign anybody whilst we're on the tour, and that was proved right. We never seem to sign players when we're on the tour, but we're back from the tour tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some deals done in the next couple of weeks. We've sort of got to, because the Premier League starts... When does the Premier League start? Is it 2 weeks on 2 weeks on Saturday? Unbelievable. 2 weeks on Saturday, and we've got so many games coming up before then. So 2 weeks on Saturday is the game. I think we'll make 2 signings in that time. I think it will be Matic and Perisic. And I'm going to do a video tomorrow night on Manchester United, the squad that we've got, and what we should realistically expect. And I want you all to join me on that one tomorrow night. Well, no, it might not be tomorrow night, because probably do Skype Goldbridge tomorrow night. But that reminds me as well, we've just done the transfer news there. It's a Wednesday night show, but I don't intend to do like an hour and a half or anything like that. We might limit it to about half an hour tonight, for the simple reason that Manchester United are playing Barcelona at midnight. So in just over 4 hours time, Manchester United will be kicking off against Barcelona. Very excited about it. We'll be live with the watch along in about 3.5 hours time at 11:30, an hour before kick-off as usual with the team news. Really looking forward to it. Barcelona have already played a game, so it's not like Real Madrid at the weekend. It was their first pre-season game. Barcelona have played a game. We will see the likes of Messi and Neymar and the good players that Barcelona have got, and I think it will be a test. Out of all the games, apart from Manchester City, but that was their first game as well, I think this is going to be the most challenging one. I didn't do a score prediction yesterday. People moaned about it. I think we'll lose. I'm not negative about that. I think if Barcelona play to their potential, we will lose. But I think it's going to be a really good test for us. This is the one I'm looking forward to the most, because it's our last game. I'm sad to see the US tour go. It's been fantastic. But Barcelona will take it seriously like us. They won't just play their reserves in the second half like Real Madrid. So I'm really looking forward to that. And also, as a little bit of a reward, I've done this on purpose, and I've been thinking about how we can do this, because we tried to do a shirt giveaway on the first game, and it just backfired terribly, because it's so hard to give it away to a YouTube name, because then people know who it's been given to, and you get made up email accounts and they spam it and it ruins it. So we've got 2 Manchester United shirts to give away, and it's your choice. You can have a home shirt, you can have the black shirt, or you can have the new shirts, the 3rd kit, which United are going to be playing in tonight. A very big divider. Most people don't like it, but you might quite like it. So we've got 2 Manchester United shirts to give away tonight on the watch along. We're live from 11:30, and there are 2 surefire ways we can get those shirts to you. So they'll be given away tonight, 11:30 on the watch along, 2 Manchester United shirts. As a thank you to you lot, really, for everyone who joins us for the watch alongs. And as a thank you to, as an incentive, not incentive, but a nice start to the season. We are, I am genuinely excited about this season for Manchester United. We'll see what happens. I think we're going to win the league, and I'm basing that on the fact that Mourinho wins it in his first 2 years. It's as simple as that. But I've done everything I wanted to talk about there. What I would like you to do is, if you can drop a like on the video, because we've got 73 dislikes. If people as well, just it is your channel. I think people think, oh, it's Mark Goldbridge, he's an idiot, I'm going to dislike the video, which is fine. That's your prerogative. But if people just could drop a like on the video, that would be great to support what is the only Manchester United independent fan channel. But also, I'm intrigued as to know what we're doing that's making people dislike. Genuinely, without the abuse, let me know, because I am intrigued. Rodney says Richard Keys, and then he's put the dots next to it because he's not reliable. Right, we've had a couple of comments anyway. Alfie Fielding says, hi Mark, do you think it would have been better for us to have not won the Europa League and be in Europa this year, as we would have got more backing out of the owners? Great question, Alfie. Thanks for the contribution. I meant to mention this on the show with Rodney last night, but it was such a good show, and it's so back and forth, and then you've got the live comments as well. Points come into your head, but then by the time Rodney's finished, you're on another point, you forget. It was definitely in my head last night. The funny thing is, we were talking about these 2 lists that Mourinho had. The Europa League list, if we were in the Europa League, and the Champions League list, if we're in the Champions League, like we are. And we assumed that the Champions League list meant better players. But actually, I think what we've learned is, when you look at the history with the Glazers, as I said last night, when we're in the Europa League, they spend big because they can't afford another year of the Europa League. When we are in the Champions League, they don't spend big because they're already in the place where they want to be and they want to take the profit. So the weird thing is that our list for the Champions League is probably worse than what the Europa League was. Because let's think about it. If we've been in the Europa League again, we'd have to get in the Champions League next year. So they probably would have gone and spent a lot more money. It's ridiculous, but that's how businessmen work. It's not how football men work, and that's the problem with who we've got at the moment. We've just jumped to 116 dislikes from 75. You know what? Dislikes don't make any difference on the way the video ranks. Neither do likes, neither do comments. I know exactly how YouTube works, and it doesn't work on dislikes. So dislike as much as you like. I was just intrigued as to what it is that people dislike. Probably rival fans, or trolls, says Josh Hayes. There's another comment I need to read out because somebody else has contributed. Nathaniel Pierce says it's because you moan all the time. Nathaniel, there's a very easy thing you can do on YouTube. Switch it off and watch somebody else. If you don't like the United stand, nobody forces you to come here, and I'm a big advocate of that. It's a fan forum. It's about fan opinion. And as I explained to you yesterday, look, I'm as passionate as all you lot are about Manchester United, but what I'm not is I don't bury my head in the sand. I've been doing this for 3 years. If something annoys me, frustrates me, I'm vocal about it. And people can call that moaning. Other people call it reality. I wear my heart on my sleeve and I say what I'm thinking. I don't want Matic at Manchester United at the moment. If we sign him, obviously he's better than nobody, and I will back him. I think Mourinho's made it abundantly clear that he's not being backed in the transfer market. I don't believe he is being backed in the transfer market, so I'm going to moan about it. It's not moaning though. If you think it's moaning, I wouldn't watch it. You know, life's too short. Jared Pesserman's made a contribution. He says, nothing agitates me more than Liverpool getting every single big money target. Keita, Van Dijk and Salah, and we are signing rejects. Matic is second rate. I don't keep an eye on Liverpool transfer news, to be honest. I become aware of the players that they've signed because I monitor football news, and I've become aware of signings, of course. But Liverpool are a club that I would rather eat glass than find out what they're up to. But that's just the way it is. So Keita is not a player I would want at Manchester United. I'll be vocal about it now. I was asked about it 2 weeks ago and we were tentatively linked about him. So I said, I don't really want to tell you the truth about what I think about Keita, just in case he signs for United, because it's that sort of summer. But I don't rate him. I don't think he'll be a very good signing. Salah, I don't think he's particularly good. And Van Dijk is a good Premier League centre-back. But look, I was talking to somebody at work today who's a United fan, and we were talking about Liverpool, and we basically were talking about Coutinho going to Barcelona and how funny it would be. And we both agreed that actually, if you could have any players from Liverpool, who would you take? And I said, well, Coutinho is a good player, I'll give him that. But I wouldn't take anybody else from that Liverpool squad to United, and I'm being totally sincere. Mane's a good player, but I didn't want him when Van Gaal was going to sign him. If we'd kept Van Gaal last year, we would have signed Mane. He went to Liverpool because United didn't want him anymore. That's well known. I wouldn't take any Liverpool player. You know, you talk about Lallana's, Nathaniel Klein, Sturridge, Firmino. I wouldn't take them. I think United's problem is, when you look at what we've got up front compared to what Liverpool have got, we've got Martial, we've got Rashford, we've got Lukaku, we've got Mkhitaryan, we've got Pereira. You know, we've got really, really good players. Pogba. They're much better than the players that Liverpool have got. The difference between United and Liverpool is Mourinho is still struggling to find a way to make us play entertaining football. He's still struggling to get the ball out of the midfield to our attackers. Liverpool, under Klopp, have a system, it's well drilled into them, and when it plays well and when it works, it looks very attractive. But the flip side of that is, he's only got one way of playing, and when teams sit back, it's very boring watching Liverpool. So we've got the better players. I think we just need to find our identity. Liverpool haven't got as good of players, but they do have a way of playing. To be honest with you, Salah and Keita, they remind me of the sort of signings that Everton would make. The problem is, Perisic and Matic remind me of the sort of players that Everton would sign as well. So it's much of a muchness. Corey Brown says, I'm a rival fan, but got to give it to you. This is a great channel. I've liked and subscribed. Thanks for all the likes. We've hit 1,000 likes quicker than we normally do. We've also hit 200 dislikes quicker than we normally do. It's funny to watch. The fact that 200 people have disliked it means that they're watching something that apparently they don't like. But it really, really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Shabanka Dutta says it's not fan opinion, it's your opinion. Oh, you know what, mate? That's why we do Skype Goldbridge twice a week. That's why we do Saturday Night Live, where it's interacting with your comments. That's why I've just read your comment there. Look, how do you want a fan channel to work? You've got to have a presenter. You've got to have a presenter, and if you don't, you've got chaos. I tell you what. I'll tell you what I'll do then. Here we go. This is how it works if you don't have a presenter on a show, okay? And I'm sure you're going to love it. Good night, everyone. Well, I'll give you 30 seconds. And basically, now it becomes a fantastic fan channel like Shabanka wanted. Look, just read your comments. This is real fan opinion. See? That's real fan opinion. That is real fan opinion. I agree with you. Putting up a list of loads of United fans just commenting amongst themselves. It is brilliant. I love it. Absolutely brilliant. That's why you're on the screen. What we do as a side issue is have me presenting. That's how the United Stand works. What other channels used to do is not have the live comments on and just be them. That's fine. That works for some. But what we do is we have you right next to me, and I'm basically I'm not a robot. I'm not there to just be grey. Obviously, I put my slant on it, but I'm fully aware that a lot of you think what I talk is total nonsense, and I'm happy with that. And I know some of you think he does speak some sense sometimes. It's meant to generate opinion. I never purposely say things to generate opinion. I just give you mine. But it's not. It is the United Stand. It is your channel, and we work hard to do that. But if you can think of a better way, let us know. Okay, I want to start taking some questions. Nathan, I wasn't biting on his comment. I was just making a point. I'm genuinely in a good mood. I'm really looking forward to this Barcelona game tonight. I cannot wait for it. What would be your preferred lineup for tonight in both halves? Says Harjul Mahal. Well, I don't expect to see Fellaini playing because he played 90 minutes, but for some reason I think he will. I want to see... Well, the midfield's the interesting thing. I don't know whether Herrera's fit, whether it was just a knock or not, but you look at the midfield and we only actually have... I'd like to see Twansibi playing in the midfield. I want to see Lindelof playing at centre-back, and I'd like to see him get 60 minutes because he needs to get some confidence. I'd like to see a bit of Fosu Mensah in the middle, but I don't think that will happen. I'd like to see Mitchell get a bit of game time. I want to see Pereira playing for over an hour. What I want to see is what we did in the first half against Manchester City. I want to see us get the ball to our attacking midfielders, whether it's Mkhitaryan or Pogba, quick and get at their back four. We're a very dangerous team when we do that. We just don't do it enough. And if we play Carrick and we play McTominay, then that's going to be difficult because they're static. But I'm really looking forward to it. We should be at the peak of our fitness on this tour, and Barcelona have had a game already. So I think if we play a static midfield, we'll get absolutely annihilated, and that might not be a bad thing, but I don't think that'll happen. I think Jose will play a different sort of team. Desherry711 has made a contribution. He says, if you hit 5 million subs, I reckon we each donate £10 each to get a decent signing. So far it's been a shambles. Get Bale and Fabinho and be done. I tell you what, I'd be up for that. I tell you what, I'd put 100 quid in. Well, we'll never hit 5 million subs, but yeah, if we all put a quid together and we'd have a tenner, we'd have 50 million, wouldn't it? And we could donate that 50 million to Manchester United to sign Fabinho. Imagine that. Imagine the publicity if we did that. Maybe we should do a GoFundMe and do it. That'd be absolutely hilarious. I'll start it off with 100 quid. Let's raise the money up and give it to United to sign a player. That would be very, very funny. But it would be undermining our manager, to be honest, wouldn't it? Right. Carrick is the English Messi. I love Michael Carrick. It's just, it's a bit like Rooney. It's the end, isn't it? Nick Archer says, I've got a feeling that Gareth Bale's coming. Jose whispered to him the other day he would be our star. You know what? I've written off Fabinho and Renato Sanches because I genuinely think that they were never happening. But Gareth Bale is a name that just keeps coming up and coming up and coming up all summer. It happens every summer, but people say, oh, do people tell you stuff? And they do. This summer's been not that good, to be honest. It's not been very good at all. But there is sort of a lower rung of people who are sort of, I wouldn't say in the know, but they get the odd whisper here and there. And Pogba just keeps Pogba. It was Pogba last year, but Bale does keep getting mentioned. I don't know. I'm one of those fans who actually would welcome Bale. I don't start going on about injuries. I would welcome Bale at Manchester United. But it's the sort of signing that, for me, it would be on par with Pogba. It would be stunning. But I don't know. I really do think that it's Perisic and Matic, and I don't think we should be getting our hopes up any higher than that. Alexi Nicola has made a contribution. He says, love the channel. Thanks for your hard work, Mark. Well, I feed off you lot, good and bad. That's the genuine truth. I love doing the channel, but I love the interaction. I couldn't do it without you lot, so I feed off that. I certainly wouldn't do as many videos as I do if I didn't have a live section, if it was just pre-records. And I like doing the pre-records, like I did 2 days in the morning. I've gone back to doing the transfer show in the studio. I do like the walk to work ones, but I've done a couple in the studio. But they're pre-records, I don't really like them. I like the live content, and that makes me feel part of it with you. Joe Stanley's made a contribution. I like Jose and I back him, but I don't understand how he can complain about Woodward's signings when he takes his vacation and walks away from the transfer window. Kind of a cop-out to me. Interesting, Joe. Thanks for the contribution. First time I've heard that. And Andrew Humphrey says he loves the United Stand, which is fantastic. We've got a great community, let's just leave it at that. But I'm back on to Mourinho. He did wash his hands, didn't he? He said, I'm off on holiday, I'm not getting involved in transfers. I I wonder if he regrets that. I mean, to be honest with him, he's had a tough year. His dad died. He didn't know that at the time, but his dad did die. He had most of June off. I think he deserved that. Sir Alex Ferguson used to do it. And the people he leaves to do the job should be competent to do the job. I agree with you though, Joe. He probably does look at it now and think, God, what a mess. I wish I'd just sorted this out. But he puts trust in people who are paid a lot of money to sort it out for him. And for some reason, they failed. The Fabinho news, Ish Matic, is that Monaco Vice President today has said that Lamar and Monaco will not be leaving Monaco. So that is the end of that. What do you think of a 100 million price tag on Verratti, says Zach Ryback. I really like Verratti. Again, a bit like Fabinho. You know, we're 2/3 of a very good midfield. We've got Pogba and Herrera, who I think are fantastic midfielders. To make them the best midfield in the country, they need another midfielder like them. You know, Carrick is declining. He takes them down a level. Fellaini takes them down a level. Matic, I think, will take them down a level. Fabinho would take them up a level. Verratti would take them up a level. That's the sort of midfielder I wanted to sign. But one, I don't think we'd spend £100 million on Verratti. And two, at 5'5", I'm sorry, I just do not think that's what Mourinho... I can't see how last season a lot of us were like, why does he keep bringing Fellaini on? Why does he keep picking Fellaini? And to be honest, on a total logical explanation, it has to be because he's tall. It has to be because it's the only thing that he's got. So Mourinho must like tall players. So why would he go and buy somebody who's 5'5" when he's been playing a giant with Pogba and Herrera all last season? Why would he then think it's a good idea to play a midget? I'm not calling Verratti a midget. I'm just saying in comparison to Fellaini, Verratti's half his size. So that is the reason. And the price tag. I just don't think he is the player that Mourinho wants as much as I'd love as to sign him. I just want to say as well, really I'm enjoying this show tonight. I was sort of thinking, I've just remembered as well. You're going to love this. You're going to love it. Anyway, I didn't know whether... I was always going to do a show tonight, and there's always a bit of transfer news at the start, but I was like, what are we going to do for half an hour or an hour or so? Because we're half an hour in already. And I just thought, let's just do Saturday Night Live, which is what we normally do, which is just massively interact with the live comments, which, to be honest with you, is my favourite show. So thanks to everybody who's been getting involved. But I've got to tell you a story. It's just reminded me because Andrew Hoare says he loves walking to work when I do the walk to work ones every morning, which is great. I'm glad you've enjoyed them over the summer. But talking about work, I went on my lunch break today. I wasn't too far away from where I walk along the canal to do the videos sometimes. And I'm just about to walk over this bridge. And this guy comes up to me and goes, "Gold Bridge!" And I was like, because my work life is very separate to this. Obviously, you're in work mind. And I sort of stopped, looked at him, and I was like, registered what he'd said, shook his hand, and we spoke about United for about 5 minutes. And he took a photo with me, which I was very happy to do. He does appear on the live comments. I asked him, his name's Jose205 or 204. So if he's on tonight, cheers, pal. He might not be because he was in Birmingham and he's from London. He was up for his sister's graduation. But it is the first time I've ever been recognised in Birmingham. So a big shout out for him there. And I said I'd give him a shout out. But it's a surreal thing. Every night, thousands of us just reconvene together and talk about Manchester United. And I've had a few people contacting me saying, you should come out, you should come here, come there, and you could organise it. We'll get a pub and we'll have like a bit of a Q&A and a few drinks. And I would love to do that. I would really love to do that. I would love to meet more of you than I do. So I do, because there is a great community and it's interesting. I'd met this lad today and we just spoke about United for 5 minutes and it was great. So it was a bit of a shock, but it was nice. And I definitely would want to do Dublin, and I want to do everywhere. But if it keeps growing the way it is, I think it's a good idea. We could sort of get a charity involved or something and have a bit of an event. Maybe sort out an ex-United player to come as well. They like to do that sort of thing, so it's a good idea. I'd like to do that, but maybe it's a long way off. But it was funny anyway. Michael Foley says, "Sorry I'm late. I've had a hard day at work." Don't worry, it happens to us all, Michael. This is a good question from Aman Hussein. I want you all to reply to this one, by the way. He says, would Lukaku, Lindelof, Perisic and Dyer be a good transfer window for you? It would be better than Lukaku, Lindelof, Perisic and Matic, but I was thinking about this on the way home today, and I tweeted it off my account at Mark Goldbridge, which somehow has 20,000 followers now. I don't tweet a hell of a lot off there, so thanks for everyone who follows me. I genuinely thought in May, and I feel an idiot for saying this now, but I think most of you will sort of feel the same with slight variations. I genuinely thought in May, and I'm not unrealistic when it comes to, I don't have my head in the clouds when it comes to transfers and Manchester United, because I've been let down. We've all been let down many times. But I genuinely thought in May that there was a realistic possibility that we would sign Griezmann, Fabinho, Aubameyang, Manolas and Nainggolan. I thought those 5 players were all realistic. Whether I thought we'd get all of them, but I thought they were realistic. So when let's pull it down to 4. So Lindelof I'm happy with. So let's just say Fabinho, Nainggolan, Griezmann, Aubameyang, compared to Lukaku, Perisic, Matic, Lindelof. It's not been the summer I expected. So for me, we can all be proved wrong, and those signings could make us title winners, and I would be happier than anybody. But it's not been the transfer window I thought it was going to be. And that's the politest thing I can say. It hasn't been. The reasons behind that, I don't blame the manager. I don't think he's been backed. But it hasn't been the window. But then, you know what? Somebody said it last night. We were getting Griezmann. We didn't get Griezmann because he pulled out. Griezmann would have cost 90 million. We still probably would have signed a striker. So where is that 90 million for Griezmann? Are we going to spend it? Are we going to keep it back? It's a very curious summer for Manchester United, because we can say that the Glazers hold money back, which they do. They definitely do. But what about Griezmann? We didn't pull out the Griezmann deal. He did. We wanted Griezmann. That was 90 million we had to spend because that was his release clause. So where is that money? It is interesting. It is interesting. Let's have a look at another question for you. Mo Sanders just said exactly the same thing I've just said. Owen G says, what time are you going live tonight? 11:30. I will finish this stream and I will set up the watch along stream. So if you want to get on there tonight commenting, maybe go and have a bit of something to eat, have a bath, watch a film or something before. But I will open up the live comments on that watch along probably in the next half an hour. So if you want to have pre-match chat, and then we'll be live at 11:30. We're giving away 2 Manchester United shirts. I don't know how many of you are staying up. I'm definitely staying up. It is late, but it's one of those ones where you just don't go to bed. So I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah. A lot of you are right. Sometimes I just need to read a comment that's not very nice and not read it out loud because that's what they want. Okay, I'm looking for a good comment. The January transfer window will be very interesting. Will really show how what Jose thinks of his squad. That's from Joe Stanley. I don't think we'll sign anyone in January, to be honest. Mark, if we're waiting for Griezmann for next summer, then the price has increased. Would Glazers still back it? So that's from Aish13. My understanding is that his price hasn't increased. His wages have increased, but his price hasn't increased because he's retained the same 89 million buyout clause, which for many people was quite interesting. It's a double-edged sword. If people remember, I was a big fan of Antoine Griezmann. I thought he was perfect. He would have filled the 7 shirt. I think he would have been absolutely brilliant for us. But I felt so let down by the fact that he bottled it. And people can say he bottled it on a moral level, but if you want to come to United, you come to United. Forget about anything else. And he has turned it down. But, you know, time's a great healer, and part of me now thinks maybe he's there is that agreement that he comes in a year's time. A few people mentioning Ross Barkley. I like Ross Barkley. I've said it, again. I know some people will say you're an idiot, but I do like Ross Barkley. I've always liked Ross Barkley. I think he struggles between what's going on in his head sometimes. I'm not saying he's thick, but I don't know the bloke. But as a footballer, he's a bit thick at times on the football pitch in relation to running up blind alleys and decision making. But we have plenty of players like that at United who've been sorted out. And I think the good thing about Barkley is he's strong. He's got a good turn of pace for a midfielder. He can run at people. He's got a good shot on him. And he is quite tenacious. I think under Mourinho, he's one of them midfielders who's probably 6 out of 10 most games. I think Mourinho could make him into a consistent 8 out of 10. And he's English. And he wants to leave Everton. I've heard he's going to Spurs. And a lot of people are taking the mickey out of Spurs, saying, haha, they've not bought anybody. I tell you what, I'm not saying Spurs are going to win the league, because I think City have got to be favourites for the league. You can't spend the amount of money they're spending and not be favourites for the league. But I don't think Man City will win the league, by the way. But Spurs already have a very good squad. Kyle Walker's not a major loss to them. They've got Trippier. They've also got about 3 or 4 really good young players coming through. Pochettino was at Southampton and he's done it at Spurs. He's very good at integrating young talent into his sides. They've got a very good way of playing. They can play more than one way. They've got Ali and Kane, who in the Premier League are fantastic. I think they're going to sign Ross Barkley. And if they add Ross Barkley to that and Pochettino does what I think Mourinho could do, I think Spurs aren't going to have many problems next year. They're a very good side. Very, very good side. So people are laughing at Spurs because they haven't signed anybody. I don't necessarily think they need to. They're retaining all their good players. They've got good young players coming through. And I think they'll probably sign 1 or 2. And I think Ross Barkley would be a good signing for Spurs. And that's what I've been told, that he's going to Spurs. I'd welcome him at United. 1 year left on his contract. He'd hope to get him for about 30 million. I think he's got massive potential. But everybody looks at football differently. I look at somebody like Fellaini, and I know he's never going to be a decent footballer. He just, body movement, touch, it's not there. I look at someone like Ross Barkley, and I totally agree with everybody that's saying, he's underachieved. But I look at him, and his balance, his touch, his movement with the ball, his bite into the tackle, his crossing, his shooting, when on form, he's got all the natural attributes to be a very good midfielder. What he doesn't have is the decision making and the consistency. And if that could be drilled into him, I still think he can be one of the best midfielders in England. Whether United are in for him, probably not. Probably not, because it doesn't fit in with what Mourinho wants. He wants a CDM and a wide man. But I'd certainly get Barkley. I would. If you had to pick between Renato Sanches and Pereira, who would you pick? Look, if I had to pick between James Rodriguez and Pereira, I'd pick Pereira. And I got a lot of stick for that back in April. But that's how much I believe in Pereira. And I understand why I got a lot of stick about that, because James Rodriguez is a very good player, and I would have welcomed him at Manchester United. And I don't expect many Manchester United fans to know Pereira as well as I do and a few others do. But he's a fantastic player, a fantastic player. A lot of people think he's a wide man or an attacking midfielder. He can be box to box. He's got the physicality and the tackling ability and the passing ability and the strength to do it. I think Pereira is a fantastic talent. I would not swap him out of our club for hardly anybody. I really rate him that much, and that is the positive side. Look, everybody's got a right to moan or be a bit negative about the situation at the moment, because we are Manchester United and it's not good enough. But when all's said and done and the transfer window closes, and if it closed tomorrow, you can't dwell in self-pity. You can't dwell on what our owners have done. That's not the United way. The United way is to, zip up and let's crack on. And there are a lot of positives in the United side. Rashford looks better than last year. Martial looks like he's got a bit of confidence back. Even someone like Jesse Lingard seems to be, playing better. I just wish he'd put a stone on. Lukaku, I think he'll score a lot of goals in the Premier League. Pereira's back. He's like a new signing. De Gea's staying, which I didn't expect to happen. Bailly looks better and better by the game. Herrera and Pogba are still there. Mkhitaryan, if we can get him in centrally, looks really good. So there are lots to be positive about. Maybe Luke Shaw can get back. Valencia's so consistent. If Rojo comes, there's so many positives. I just think we all know we just need a sprinkling. We need a top class player to share the load with Pogba. We need another midfielder, probably 2 really. And I don't think we're far off. So there you go. There's your negative fan. There are positive elements, but I just think we need a little bit more in relation to what everybody else is doing. Tyrone Williams says Lingard's a fantastic squad player. I wouldn't disagree. I would not disagree with that. He's just not a first team player for me. Faizan says, why have you got an agenda over Matic? I haven't got. I don't even know why I read that comment out because it's petty. I've not got an agenda. I've got an opinion. End of. Do we get Dyer if Spurs get Barkley? Says Andrew Hall. I doubt it because they're very different players. Spurs like Eric Dyer because he can play a number of positions. Barkley's a box-to-box stroke attacking midfielder. King Zlatan 9. Bye. You'll have to set up a new username. Lingard is close to world class, says OG the Bamboozler. He's obviously been drinking. And it's a shame we missed on for Fabinho. Every club had a piece of cake from Monaco and we didn't, says Adel Sarafici. It's a very good point that. Look, I don't want to... I feel that United have tried to get people at realistic prices this summer and they've played the long game and they've missed out. Let's not forget, Mourinho went to Monaco for a day or a day and a half and he didn't even stay for the Monaco Grand Prix. He was clearly in Monaco sorting a deal out. And lo and behold, 2 months later, we haven't signed a Monaco player. Who was he there for? Was it Mbappe and he just said no? Was it talking about Fabinho? Was it talking about Mendy? Was it talking about somebody else? Was it nothing to do with Monaco? But I do think when you look at Morata and you look at Perisic and you look at how those deals dragged on and on for weeks, there's a common recurring theme there. It's all right to blame Real Madrid. It's all right to blame Inter Milan. Why are we blaming clubs who don't need to sell their players, and if they are going to sell them, they want over the market price? Is that not their right to do that? So I think there's a theme with Manchester United this summer, and I think it comes from the top that we want players, but we want them at a reasonable price, and it's not a reasonable market. So maybe with Monaco and Fabinho, we wanted him at a certain price, and we weren't willing to pay a different price. And maybe we've had the nod. This is another thing. Maybe we've had the nod from Morata. I'm sure we did. Maybe we had the nod from Perisic. I'm sure we did. Maybe we've had the nod from Fabinho. And by the nod, you know, they've sort of gone, I want to come and play for you. Sort the deal with the club, I want to play with you. Which is great. Traditionally in the transfer window, that is it. You're going to get the player. But this window is very different. We're dealing... A lot of clubs, there aren't many football clubs now who need to sell. There's a lot of money in football for various reasons. There is a lot of money in football. So Inter Milan don't need to sell. Real Madrid certainly don't need to sell. Monaco don't need to sell. So we are there as Manchester United, always looking to get the best price because we're thinking about profit lines. So we're like, you know, yeah, we're only paying 35 for Perisic and he wants to come. We're only paying 60 million for Morata and he wants to come. We're only paying 35 million pounds for Fabinho and he wants to come. And then Monaco, Inter and Real Madrid go, yeah, they might want to come. You might want to pay that. Chuck another £15 million on him and we'll talk. And then United, using traditional transfer rules, go, no, we'll play the long game, your player wants to leave. And then it blows up in your face because they go, fine, we'll keep the player, we can afford to do it. The player's unsettled. We had to go for Lukaku to move away from Morata. Will we hang him there for Perisic and pay what Inter wants? And in relation to Fabinho, if we ever were in for him, well, Monaco in the interim have sold 3 or 4 players and now saying we're not selling anybody else anyway. And you end up with nothing. And I think it'll be another learning curve for United this summer. This driving a hard bargain, we know your player wants to come to us. It doesn't work anymore. The players always used to have the power. I think a lot of clubs have got the power back this summer because it's like, yeah, well, he might be unhappy and he might want to leave, but if he wants to sit in the reserves, that's fine. We've got loads of money. And of course the player doesn't want to sit in reserves. They don't want to waste a year of their career. So they'll just button up and they'll play where they are. It's been a very interesting summer, but it's certainly been a very... It's bit United in the face, is what I would say. But it's not over yet. We might change our tactics. Let's just see. Don't forget, if you are watching Manchester United versus Barcelona tonight, it is live on the United stand. We are live at 11:30 with the team news. and we will be live until about 3 o'clock in the morning watching the game with you. Can't wait. If you're not going to watch along before, where have you been? So that's going to be very, very good. We are going to give away 2 Manchester United shirts this evening. There will definitely be two separate winners, and it will be legitimate because we have a way where we can find out who the actual winner is without being spammed by fakes. So we've got 2 shirts to give away. You can have a home one, a black one, or the new kit which they're wearing tonight. It's your choice. We will contact the winner and we will arrange that for you. Jamel Salafi has made a contribution. He says, Martial, Pogba, Fellaini take too many touches on the ball. Mourinho can convert Lindelof to CDM like he did Matic. Lingard gets into good spaces. Yeah. Alexi Nicolo says he loves the channel and thanks for your hard work. I think I'd read that one out. And TC Singh made a contribution. Didn't leave a question, but thanks for that. Caleb Abako says, ignore the haters, you're doing a great job. And that's it. We've covered all the live comments, which is very, very important. All the contributions, sorry. Yeah, so, right. It was only meant to be half an hour. You got 50 minutes, which is a very enjoyable show. I've really, really enjoyed it. I just want to say that to everybody. I've really enjoyed the show. You made it sort of first 10 minutes, transfer update, and then next 40 minutes, boom, taking all your questions. Really, really have enjoyed that. The shirt will be applicable outside. It's global. I don't know. I won't know who's won the shirt in the sense that you can only win if you're from the UK. I won't know. The way we're going to do it, a certain username will win one, a certain username will win the other, and that's how you'll win it. It doesn't matter where you're from. As long as it's on Earth, we can't send it to Mars or Westeros or Oz or whatever other fantasy world there is there. But if you live on Earth, then you can win the shirt. So we're live at 11:30. Find out how to do that then. But I also think the game's going to be fantastic. So join us for that. Watch along. Watch it with us. Really looking forward to that. If you can't stay up late, are you really a United fan? No, I'm only joking. Some of you I know can't, but I have, and I'll be happy to finish my 5 caps on the US tour. All of them been pretty late, but really looking forward to it. Thanks everyone for watching. As Samir Hassan says, really good show tonight. Sometimes the Raw shows where you go live and you don't really know what's going to happen turn out to be the best, and I certainly enjoy them more. So I'm not going to ask for many more likes because 1,500 of you have already liked it, which is amazing. Thank you. Thanks for the 220 who have disliked the video. Thanks for watching. And yeah, if you're new, click the subscribe button bottom right hand corner and get involved. I think this has been a perfect advert for what this channel's all about tonight. You lot on the live comments just driving the show. Absolutely superb. Really, really enjoyed it. I'll see you in just under 3 hours. We're back live in 2.5 hours time, 11:30. Team news and watch along. So we won't be apart for long. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you join us at 11:30. And yeah, really, really looking forward to it. And I'll speak to you all soon.